Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. You're watching Question Hour, the show where we get you questions asked by the members in the upper house and replies given by various ministries and departments. I'm your host Rajat Kain, joined with my colleague Kriti Mishra.
Thank you so much, Rajat. And as our viewers know that there are different types of questions, the start questions, the unstart questions, and also the short notice ones. Now, unstart questions are those questions of which response is given by the government in written format. And in this show, we collate all the important unstart questions asked by the members of the upper house in the previous session.
Well, the first question of the show that was asked by member Dr. Amee Yajnik from Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. The member asked whether an action plan for overall rehabilitation of physically and mentally challenged person is run at district level by the central government. What is the amount allocated to each district disability rehabilitation centers, and whether government would contemplate to provide funds for implementation of district disability rehabilitation center schemes.
And the response given by the government is an affirmative, and the government says that Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities is implementing a central sector scheme, namely District Disability Rehabilitation Center, under which financial assistance is provided to set up and operate DDRCs at district level. Now, across the country, 325 districts have been identified and approved for setting up these DDRCs. Now, they aim to carry out the following activities with persons with disabilities. Now, these include early identification and intervention, awareness generation, assessment of need or provision or fitment of assistive devices, therapeutic services, that is physiotherapy, occupational therapy or speech therapy, referral and arrangement of surgical correction, assistance in providing scholarships, skill training, loans for self-employment, survey and identification of persons with disabilities through camp approach, also assisting in the issue of unique disability identity card, arrangement of loans for self-employment, to act as outreach center for the services provided by the national institutes and promoting barrier-free environment for them. And joining us on the Question Hour show through virtual platform is Rajya Sabha MP Dr. Amee Yajnik. Dr. Yajnik, welcome to Rajya Sabha TV and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Ma'am, as you know that we bring out all the important unstart questions asked by the members of the upper house, and talking about the previous session, you asked a very important question about the action plan for overall rehabilitation of physically and mentally challenged persons or Divyangs. What is your take on the response, and what are the suggestions that you would like to give to the government?
See, I asked a very specific question because there has been a Disability Act in place since 1995. And we have lots of other allied acts also. So it becomes kind of a statutory situation where the government is supposed to act on statutes, especially for this disability persons who are absolutely, they have no access to a lot of systems. And most times society does not like to talk about them or even extend any help to them. So in this situation, I just wanted to know what the government is doing actually on ground level to see that these disabled persons are helped, they are rehabilitated, and I just wanted to know how far they are on their schemes. The answer I got was that there's a scheme that is floated, which is the District Disability Rehabilitation Center. But the minister has gone on record to say that they have planned this implementation of this scheme in 325 districts, and they are aiming to see that the disadvantaged people who are having this disability in any form, whether it is mental or physical impairment, they would be helped by, say, interventions or timely help, or by medical help, and to see that they, if there is any physical disability, like kind of fitness of limbs and all that. And you see, if you see the 2001 the census, we had almost about 5% people who were disabled. So it's a huge number. And we want, as per our constitution, that everyone is treated equally. But because, see, these disabled people are like children. They do not know their rights. They do not know how to go. So it has to be on the government. The onus has to be on the government to see that they reach them. See, it is definitely all those able citizens who are affluent citizens, they should see that their counterparts who are disabled should be at par with them. And that kind of equality was envisaged by the Constitution. But I hope that they put a very strong action plan in place. And especially after COVID-19 pandemic situation, the lockdown, it has become difficult for schemes to reach the normal people. So forget about the disabled people, whether they are in urban areas or rural areas. So I am expecting, and I really implore the government to see that the schemes that they are implementing and trying to bring some kind of aiming to bring some kind of result should be done very fast.
Well, absolutely. That's a very important point that you're making. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
And let's move on to the next question asked by member KK Ragesh. And this question pertains to the Ministry of Communications. And the member has sought details about the revival plan for BSNL made by IIM Ahmedabad.
Well, giving a detailed reply, the ministry said that given the recommendations made by the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, in its report for revival of Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited or BSNL, now these steps include accelerate land asset transfer and real estate monetization, facilitate 4G spectrum allocation, implementation of voluntary retirement scheme, funding of BSNL revival, organizational restructuring. The revival plan for BSNL has been prepared considering the recommendations of IIM Ahmedabad, which was prepared by it after consultation with various unions, associations, employees of the BSNL. The government has approved this revival plan of Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited on 23rd of October 2019. The revival plan include the measures to reduce staff costs through voluntary retirement scheme for employees of the age of 50 years and above, administrative employment of spectrum to BSNL for providing 4G services, monetization of assets of BSNL, and debt restructuring by raising sovereign guarantee bonds. And lastly, accordingly, BSNL has offered VRS to employees of age 50 years and above. 78,569 employees of BSNL have opted for VRS. Alternative mechanism of Department of Investment and Public Assets Management, that is DIPAM, has approved monetization of 11 properties of BSNL following DIPAM guidelines, and BSNL has requested for a spectrum of 4G services from July 2020. Well, moving on to the last question of this edition of the show that was asked by member P. Bhattacharya from Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. The member asked about the efforts being made by the government with regard to development of electronic industries to make it more effective and more useful for people of the country.
And responding to this query, the government says that it attaches high priority to electronics hardware manufacturing, and it is one of the most important pillars for both Make in India and Digital India programs. Now, the National Policy on Electronics 2019, which is NPE 2019, has been notified on 25th of February 2019 with a vision to position India as a global hub for electronic system design and manufacturing, which is ESDM, and create the enabling environment for the industry to compete globally. As a result of several steps taken by the government and the efforts of the industry, Indian electronics production has increased from 1,90,366 crore in 2014-15 to INR 4,58,006 crore in 2018-19 at a compound annual growth rate of about 25%.
Well, that's it in this edition of Question Hour. Thanks for watching Rajya Sabha TV. You can also follow our programs and other shows on the online version of YouTube.